South Bend and beat Notre Dame. Virginia Tech hoping to do the same thing tonight, but Justin Jackson is saying, Coming into this season, you were concerned about their ability to knock down three-point shots. Justin Jackson has been absolutely terrific for the Tar Heels. And on the other side, Seth Allen has a lot to say. He's had a great run over the last 5-6 games. He's become a closer for Virginia Tech. They're going to need him to be big tonight.
Banged his head, missed a game, and since returning, you saw the numbers there. Rare that you see two teams with so many upperclassmen on the floor, but that's what we have tonight. Hadeen C. will jump center for the Hokies. He is the freshman that's on the floor at 6'10", 240, and North Carolina brings a lot more size to this game than does Virginia Tech. Isaiah Hicks wins the tap to Joel Berry, and Carolina controls.
Ravi, look for Carolina to go inside right away. Virginia Tech has been in a 3-2, 1-2-2. Almost like a switching zone here to try to force Carolina to shoot perimeter jump shots.
That's the first three, and it's off the front of the iron, but Carolina does what it does best, which is grab offensive rebounds. Gives Meeks the tip in.
43% of their misses. #1 in the country. Tremendous.
Going to be a huge challenge for Virginia Tech, trying to keep them off the boards. Three-pointer on the way, and Ty Outlaw silences the crowd a little bit.
It's a big shot for him after going 0 for 7 from 3 in 4 games. He was 2 of 2 against Clemson. They're going to need him to knock down shots tonight.
In a lot of ways, these teams mirror each other. They like to push the tempo. Virginia Tech is a good rebounding team. They just don't have the size that Carolina does. There's Hicks on the baseline. Jumper no good. Another offensive rebound. Kennedy Meeks is second, and we'll start it again.
4 offensive rebounds a game, 6th nationally.
Three ball way long. Another rebound off of the air ball, and that one is missed.
Can't be afraid to push Virginia Tech when they have numbers. They are excellent in transition.
Seth Allen steps in, drops it to C, and it goes off the foot of Berry. It'll stay Va Tech ball.
Virginia Tech wants to touch the paint as often as they can to try to suck in this North Carolina defense, because they can really shoot it from 3. 38% from 3 as a team.
A very good shooting team is Virginia Tech. 48% from the field in ACC games, which is second in the conference.
Going to be some mismatches out there on the floor for Virginia Tech. Driving opportunities are available against the bigs of Carolina.
Allen got away and buried a second three, so Virginia Tech's got all 6 on 2 shots.
He's been absolutely hot. 58% from 3 over the last 4 games.
How do you do that? 58% from 3.
It's just ridiculous. I mean, but that's what you need from your 5th-year senior, and it was his voice that I heard so often today in the shoot-around.
Contested 3, that one off the iron, and that time a good box out by C to grab the defensive rebound.
The game plan is working beautifully for Virginia Tech. Force this Carolina team as a drive there by Justin Robinson, but forcing this Carolina team to be a jump shooting team.
Maybe a little rust for Carolina. They haven't played a lot. 1 game in 9 days. As that 3 rattles in, and it was a long one from Joel Berry.
That was deep.
Berry's a 42% three-point shooter, and it's 8-5, and that ball deflected will stay in, and Allen controls. And he quickly moves around Williams, gets hung up. They set up the 3 for Outlaw. Good ball movement. The extra pass doesn't yield a bucket. One thing about Virginia Tech we'll watch over the course of this game, they do play unselfishly. They will make that extra pass. We just saw it there.
Nice.
There's your cut and an easy layup.
Maybe earlier we talked about not allowing yourself to stand around against the zone, which is so tempting as a player. You got to either throw it inside or you got to cut your way through it. That was beautifully done by Justin Jackson.
Robinson pulls up. His 3 rattles in. The sophomore out of Manassas, Virginia's got 5 early.
Lots of ball screens. The ball screen defense for Carolina is going to have to be really good. Teams feel that they can get Meeks isolated in ball screens because he doesn't get out and get up. That's a nice job by Virginia Tech taking advantage there.
Allen steps out, and now he's open for the 3, and Berry misses. Offensive rebound short. Another one grabbed by Jackson, and he's going to call a jump ball here. Michael Roberts says jump ball. That's going to go to Virginia Tech.
And folks, Joel Berry shot this one from the corner of the state, and he needed to knock down some shots. But this is how you beat a zone. When they're peeking at the basketball, you cut behind. Beautifully done by Justin Jackson.
If you're an up-tempo team like both of these are, you like playing other up-tempo teams, you like having that pace?
Yeah, if you're Virginia Tech, the pace is going to be good for them. They just can't turn the basketball over. So continue to execute your offense in the half court, but look to push it when they can get Carolina to miss.
Allen open, takes it hard, misses, and we're going to get a foul on the floor, a push from behind. It looks like they're going to call it on Berry. Right. What do you think about the pace right now?
I'm loving this pace.
We're flying here.
You and I can get out there and play a little bit.
There's Buzz Williams. His team off to a good start to the season for Buzz Williams. His 10th season, only his 3rd at Virginia Tech. And he's got some guys that he figures plays into his system. And we'll see if it plays out here. So tough to win on the road anywhere, but certainly in this conference. A couple of substitutions in for North Carolina as Allen pulls up on the baseline, and he makes it. Luke May is one of the guys into the game. He wears number 32. And also into the game, Tony Bradley, the freshman 6'11", 240-pounder.
So far what we've seen is the Virginia Tech defense has done a great job of keeping Carolina out of the paint, wanting them to shoot Jays, but after a while you're going to have to get to shooters because all of a sudden Berry's heating up.
Berry's got 2 threes in the game. Virginia Tech is 5 of 7 from the floor, and they are 3 of 4 from three-point land. Speaking of teams coming off losses, you see Saturday we have Kansas and Kentucky. They both will come into that game off of losses, part of our Sonic blockbuster games.
Roger, we spoke earlier about Virginia Tech being able to take advantage of mismatches because of the smaller guys out there on the floor. Zach Leday did exactly that on that last possession.
Yeah, if this goes in, they're going to have to play Berry a little tighter. He's made 3 threes. Outlaw had a chance to shoot. He didn't, and we're going to get an offensive foul.
What an alert play by Kenny Williams. When you know that your teammate is in distress and in a mismatch situation, your ears have to go up and you have to become alert. He knows that Tony Bradley's in trouble because Zach Leday is a lot smaller and quicker, and he gets himself in perfect position to be able to absorb that charge. Beautifully done by Kenny Williams.
Williams will take a seat on the bench. Now in for Carolina. 7th Woods. He's got the ball right now. Wears number 21. Also, the lightning rod, Theo Pinson, has come in. He has really provided a bolt off of the bench. And Nate Britt also in for Carolina.
Yeah, with this group on the floor now for Carolina, you can close up a bit short because they're not great three-point shooters out here. So Virginia Tech should be a lot more conservative.
Unless you're tonight wearing a Carolina uniform, Pinson buries his first. Pinson's been an excellent passer when he's been on the floor, and the coach talks about his vision.
Yeah.
Saw the 3 and was the 3 there.
And this team is 5-0 since he's returned to the lineup.
Allen lost his man. There's a foul. It looks like they may get Britt on a reach.
Theo Pinson, this guy means so much to this team. This kid had 12 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists in that win over Florida State, and he's the emotional leader of this team. His versatility allows him to play 1 through 4. He's an excellent passer. He can facilitate on the offensive end, can get you some buckets as well when you need it.
Off the inbounds, that's C, the 6'10 freshman out of Senegal. That foul was not on Britt, it was on Pinson. He gets his first.
And that's the hook shot that C was working on today in shoot-around. Looked pretty smooth on that one.
Baseline was open and a nice lay-in. A tough shot for Nate Britt.
I thought he was too far underneath the rim. Good adjustment.
Seth Allen looks for C down low, and he loses it. Turnover, and Carolina will try to push. Pinson kick to Britt, 3. Got it! How many passes have come from the paint out to the three-point line, and they've been burying them?
Yeah, and that's the one thing that Virginia Tech did earlier. They were keeping Carolina out of the paint, but Theo Pinson making a beautiful play down the lane to kick it to the weak side for the 3.
Justin Bibbs, a good shooter, has been a little inconsistent, but he's hoping now that he's starting to find that rhythm. Allen long three that's way off. Offensive rebound. 5-4. We're going to have a out-of-bounds call. Chris Clark, who's a stat stuffer, stepped on the line.
And folks, we talked about the impact of Theo Pinson, and this is what he does. An excellent driver with terrific vision. At 6'7", he can see over the defense and able to find Nate Britt, who drills a three from the corner.
They hit their last 5 shots, got some minutes from Luke May. He goes back to the bench, and back into the game is Isaiah Hicks, the senior.
Virginia Tech now has gone to more of a man-to-man because we talked about earlier that they would need to come out of that zone because of how well Carolina's been shooting it from three.
Good pass from Pinson. Bradley has it go over everything, and no offensive rebound for Hicks. Virginia Tech trying to set that high screen and work a high screen and a pass down low. Hill, man in his face. That three is way off.
That's a tough shot.
Let's watch Pinson's court vision. It's what the coaches, when he comes in, the assist-to-turnover ratio has gone way up. He's been an assist machine, or he contributes to the team having more assists.
Nearly 4 assists per game since he's returned.
21-17, we're under 12 here. We will talk about some of the teams that are looking for showdowns this weekend. Kansas, Kentucky. Upperclassman, but he knows about what it's like to win at Kansas.
Absolutely. He's done it a ton. About 800 wins between the two programs. Exceptional.
Right? Kentucky being at home, though, that's important for them. Well, that environment for those freshmen.
No doubt about it. And I think they have to feed Bam Adebayo early and often. They don't get him enough touches on the offensive end. Finally did it against Tennessee, but it was too late.
Third turnover for Virginia Tech. Justin Robinson's foot slipped. It does, regardless of the ACC, it does feel like there's just not a premier program this year, which makes the conference tournaments and the NCAA tournament so intriguing.
Yeah, there's some teams that I think that have the makeup to be great teams, meaning balance inside, outside. Carolina's one of those. You know how much I love Arizona.
Yep. Berry's three, no good. Great move with the left hand for Pinson, and they get their largest lead of the night.
Theo Pinson is one of those stat sheet stuffers. He does some of everything for Carolina. We've seen him dribble penetration and kick. We've seen him get on the glass and knock down a three.
Ooh, how about that block from Berry from behind? Kennedy Meeks is coming into the game as we remind you, Saturday SEC Big 12 Challenge. Triple dip on ESPN. West Virginia A&M, noon Eastern time. They'll kick things off. The Gators of Florida in the top 25. They'll take on the Sooners of Oklahoma playing better. And then at 4, Texas and Georgia. The games are streaming live on the ESPN app. And watch ESPN.
West Virginia that lost to Kansas State went back to old West Virginia last year where they turned the basketball over a ton. 23 turnovers in that game for West Virginia, a team who's taken very good care of the basketball.
And against Kansas, they did take care of the ball, and they made their free throws.
Yes.
And Huggins said we got to make free throws and not turn them over, and they beat Kansas.
Indeed.
That's another one of those programs, though, right? Kansas. I mean, you think about the things that are needed to put together national championship seasons, and you mentioned Carolina here, but good backcourt, obviously coaching experience, a little depth up front. They're a little lacking there.
And that's my concern. Can they win the national championship or get to a Final Four with Josh Jackson, who's really a 3, playing a 4 spot? I don't think they can.
Fun to watch, though.
Yo, no question about it.
It's fun to watch.
When you can have your 3-man who's playing 4, grab it off the rim and push it up the floor and make it play. That's a luxury.
Well, Virginia Tech's shooting really well here, and yet they're down by 4. They were over 65% early in this game. A couple of errant threes have allowed Carolina, who's gotten hot, to now move ahead.
5 threes in the first half for a team that in their wins make about 7 or 8 a game.
Three-pointer is good, and a good one from a guy that has worked on his shot over and over and over again, Justin Jackson.
29% from 3 last year, 40% this year. Great improvement.
Pinson fell, kind of giggles a little bit as he gets up. He's laughing at himself.
Could have been a travel.
Careful, someone's feeling it. Justin Jackson again. He's got 8, and it's a 10-point lead all of a sudden. On the defensive end, he causes problems, and a chance for Carolina to increase this 10-point lead. Another 3 off from Berry. Another offensive rebound. Jackson's open in the corner. Berry, no foul called. They're relentless on the offensive glass, and that ball's going to stay with Carolina.
What we're seeing right now is a hot Carolina team who's knocked down 7 threes here in this game, and a Virginia Tech team on the offensive end who are one side attacking. That's not going to get it done against Carolina. How about Joel Berry coming out? He had a couple quiet games over the last 2 games, but he came out tonight white hot, knocking down a couple threes earlier, and then the ball reversal. I love when guys on the offensive end are aware to find the hot guy. Luke making a beautiful pass to the top.
The average is about 15.5. He's got 9 already. The junior out of Apopka, Florida.
He's another guy who's improved his three-point shooting. Ravi, 38 last year, 43 this year.
Another offensive rebound for Meeks, and he misses the putback. Really interesting, because Roy Williams said sometimes we have these stats about our offensive rebounds and our rebounding overall because we miss a lot of shots, and then we go and get the rebound.
Several Moses Malones on this team.
Exactly. They got 8 offensive rebounds off 12 misses already tonight.
And this is a struggle for this Virginia Tech team. When they can't score right away, they are last in the league at second chance points as Chris Clark makes a beautiful move to the basket.
You got to be careful to keep this game within striking distance. Great pass inside to Meeks, who misses. Then he tips in his own rebound.
The size of Carolina impacting this game tremendously here in the first half. See, I think when Chris Clark catches it there against Isaiah Hicks, he's got to drive him to the basket.
Hill throws up a 3, can't get it. There's not one Virginia Tech shirt down there. Look out, Jackson just outran everybody. And he's got 10, and Buzz Williams wants to talk about it. There's a lot of energy right now from North Carolina. Justin Jackson used the full length of the court and his fingers. What does that have to do with the guy that we once called Iceman?
Trayvon Blewett is putting on a show. I'm Adnan Burke back in our college basketball studio. Xavier in Cincinnati. Blewett, the 7 threes, a career high. You know, the high for a player this year, 50 points by Marcus Keene earlier. Well, so far, Blewett has been tremendous. A one-man wrecking crew. He's got 32 points. They're up by 6. Back to Carl and Fonz, guys.
All right, Adnan, thank you very much. And here, the show is being put on by Justin Jackson. He wears number 44, and think about sports. There have been a lot of great 44s. Certainly in baseball, you think Reggie Jackson is coach as a Yankee fan. But in basketball, he does it to honor the Iceman, the finger roll. Is that right?
Yeah, and on the left, we see the finger roll. But on the right in the 70s, that's a finger roll. Chill on the left, ice on the right.
George Gervin, kids, YouTube him at home. He averaged about 25 a game in the NBA. He was an ABA superstar. And he's worth looking up. George, the Iceman Gervin.
Remember that poster they had of him sitting on the ice throne? That was sick. That's still the sickest poster of all time.
He said he would finger roll from the free throw line. He said that was a real finger roll. And he recently said it's amazing. Everybody talks about the next Jordan or the next LeBron. They never say the next Iceman.
Come on, Rap.
They never say it.
Rap, it's finger.
It's finger.
Thank you.
The offensive glass work continues, and they continue to miss, but everybody is charging that basket if you're wearing a Carolina uniform.
Look at this, folks. See has fingertips on that thing. That's a finger. But look at George there, nice and smooth. That's a finger roll. How about that? You got that in your game? No. Come on. Me neither.
Julius Irving, Connie Hawkins. He said those were the guys that he modeled the finger roll after.
Those guys had huge hands too.
Allen all the way, and he avoided the charge nicely with his body.
And Brad, that's what we were talking about earlier. With this lineup on the floor right now for Virginia Tech, you essentially have 5 guards with Isaiah Hicks on the floor and Kennedy Meeks. When they get that ball on the offensive end, they got to drive the basketball and either finish at the rim or get fouled. Shot too many threes here as of late.
2 passes intended for others that have ended up in the hands of Carolina players. Too low for Meeks, who misses one, grabs another offensive rebound, and puts it back in.
Now, that was vintage Moses Malone right there. And for all of you that don't know Moses Malone, in the 70s, he was always intentionally trying to miss the first shot and get the rebound to put it back in to pad his stats.
Allen tough to guard. He sets up a 3-ball. And that one is missed from Zach Leday, who's been relatively quiet tonight.
Missed another opportunity. That's Kennedy Meeks guarding him. He settles for a 3 instead of driving it to the basket.
Undersized and undermanned right now as Meeks goes. That might be an offensive foul, and it was. Good job by Seth Allen.
How about Kennedy Meeks channeling his inner Moses Malone, nice and soft on the top, quick after the basketball and the finish.
Checking out the numbers there. Plus 14 when it comes to rebound margin. Their offensive, their second chance, and their points in the paint, all first, or third among major conferences. It's a real tall, and they have some depth, which not a lot of teams have up front.
And one thing you could have done with them last year is force them to shoot jump shots. Only 33. That's a nice move by Leday underneath. We've been asking for that the entire first half.
Stay within striking distance at 10.
Last year they struggled from the 3 as a team, only about 33% Rab. This year they're shooting around 38, so you can't lay off of them like you could in the past.
Bad pass and good defense as well. The steal there. And that's the 3rd turnover for Carolina. It was Outlaw who picked it. Perfect name for a guy with a steal, Outlaw. Clark trying to do it one-on-one.
Folks, there's a lot of time here left in this game, but Virginia Tech cannot continue to settle for jump shots. Once they drive the basketball and kick, you got to get a second drive, and they've been able to get to the rim. A lot of time, and the key is trying to get this thing under 10. It'll give them a little bit of a momentum shift.
Luke May back into the game. Jackson gets it. He gives it to May, who throws it up, and it goes in and out. And now Clark one-on-one with Berry back, and he'll go to the hole and make it himself. Chris Clark earlier this season against Citadel had Virginia Tech's first ever triple-double.
Yeah, he's playing his heart out tonight. He just asked for Coach Bugs Williams to take him out of the game because he is fighting on both ends of the floor.
Lead is 8. This time it's Bradley down low. Little jump hook, and that's easy.
Look at Chris Clark, folks, number 15 in maroon. He is absolutely gassed right now.
Yeah, and Seth Allen looked at him and said, go, let's go. And they threw it away. They were essentially playing with 4 guys on the floor in that trip down.
Look at him right now walking off the floor, number 15, hands on top of his head. And I tell you what, Rab, when you're undersized and you're playing against those big guys like that and you're playing defense, you're getting up and down the floor, it really gets into your legs and exhausts you. And that's exactly what he's feeling right now. He is gassed.
Oxygen, please, oxygen.
Indeed. He's earned that, though, because he's been fighting here in the first half.
On the other side, if you're Carolina and you're a big guy, I mean, you can see how intent they are on getting position and demanding the ball down there.
With guards who will throw it as well.
Look at May. He wears a mouth guard, but he never wears it actually in his mouth.
It's a chew toy. That's good D right there.
3 on the shot clock. That's going to miss everything, and May had it for a second, and he lost it out of bounds.
That's good containment D right there. That was pretty.
Shot clock violation. It's 10. We're under 4 with LaFonso Ellis, Carl Ravitch. The ACC on ESPN continues. The Dean Dome from the outside looking in. Take a look at their RPI, their VPI. They're considered one of the top 50 teams in the country right now. Carolina's got a 10-point lead over them, 37-27. And again, we came in talking about rebounding advantage, and right now Kennedy Meeks has 6 offensive rebounds. The North Carolina team has 13 offensive rebounds. Theo Pinson has been a spark plug. You look over at that bench, and he's not sitting on it. Fonzo Ellis just walked over to the bench and checked out the reason for that.
Yeah, Theo Pinson rolled his right ankle, so he's in the locker room when they're taking a look at it.
I wonder if that happened when he fell and slipped coming up the floor. Turnover for Vatek. Not sure if you noticed that too while you were over there talking. This is the play here where perhaps Pinson may have rolled his ankle, as you see him fall hard there. And he kind of got up rather slowly.
Couldn't see anything there. But you know, sometimes when you land that way, and I've landed certainly that way, and you kind of jam that thing a little bit. Hope he's okay.
Three ball misses, but why wouldn't Nate Britt get an offensive rebound? Now winning the game as well. Brendan Robinson, 14. He'll fire a three, and he'll make it. Bonds, how close do they need to keep this game if they want to have a shot here in the second half?
Yeah, you got to get that thing to 10 or under 10, and they're not going to get it done continuing to shoot the jump shot, Rav. They've got to get to the rim.
Britt almost had a steal. Saturday, I should say, 6:15 Eastern. That's when Kansas will meet Kentucky. Number 2, number 4. Game day will be at Rupp Arena. It streams live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. It should be a real neat game to watch. Talk about tempo.
Yes.
My goodness.
They can get up and down a little bit.
1 and 2 all-time wins. Carolina on that list. They are 3rd. That ball deflected away. Stolen by Carolina.
Got numbers here.
And they're getting a foul on Clark, who's back in the game. They took their time during the timeout. Carolina was back on the floor for probably 2 or 3 minutes. Virginia Tech was sitting on their stools at the foul line, recognizing we're running low here on we're on fumes.
And that's one of the strengths of this team. Roy Williams will play 12 guys, and for Buzz Williams, he plays around 7, 8 at the very most. That's a huge order for Virginia Tech.
Jackson, he's so tall and gets some good elevation on the jump shot that having it blocked isn't even a consideration. But he missed that one, and they'll push for another 3. Allen, that one is off, and an easy, uncontested rebound for Isaiah Hicks.
Yeah, too many jump shots here as of late for Virginia Tech. Got to get to the rim.
Jackson took one to the hole, and he got it to go with the right hand. And the lead quickly now up to 15.
Wasn't quite a finger roll, but no, it was pretty impressive.
They've had a couple of these runs. They're on a 7-0 run here in the last 2:46.
Clark and Leday can drive the basketball because the bigs of Carolina don't have the foot speed to keep up.
Clark thought about a 3, and he didn't go with it, and then they penetrate. And we're going to get a foul. That's the one thing you watch all these games, and you're at these games. Generally, good things have happened when you watch players drive. They either make a bucket or get fouled.
Yeah, especially when you're small, Ravi, because you have a speed advantage. And obviously, you can get into the blue area. You can make a play for a teammate, or you can get to the front of the rim. That's an advantage that Virginia Tech has that they have been unwilling to take advantage of, especially in the last 10 minutes of this game. But that's what happens sometimes is you get hot early from 3, and it becomes fool's gold. And they've really struggled from the three-point line as of late.
Well, they're 11 of 23 from the floor and 3 of 12 from 3. So half their shots have been from three-point land, and they've made only 3 of them. They've missed 9. Carolina is amongst the league leaders, or I should say the leaders in the country, let alone their conference, in scoring at 89 points a game. And they're on a pace to get there again tonight.
This is that zone, Ravi, where you want to try to get yourself 2 stops here, get a score, try to get some momentum going into halftime if you're Virginia Tech. For Carolina, just keep throwing that thing inside and reversing the basketball. It's been a really good formula for him in the first half.
That 3 misses, but another offensive rebound for the Tar Heels, who are only going to make that statistic even more glaring as this night continues. Jackson again got hit, can't get it to go, but he's been more aggressive certainly here late.
Yeah, and that's been the calling card. At times, Justin Jackson will settle for the three, but when he's really good is when he's attacking, mixing that with his jump shot, and we've already seen how quickly he can get out in transition and finish. He's been terrific this year.
A relatively smaller lineup on the floor for North Carolina here, with just Jackson and Isaiah Hicks out there. But even so, they basically are taller than every other player. If Hadeen C's not playing, they don't have anybody to compete with that height.
Yeah, he could just close his eyes and reach into the bag and pull out anyone, and they're the perfect fit for Carolina. This is why I think this team is built for another Final Four.
Wide open three, got to hit it, and he does. Good pass, and Justin Bibbs gets his first bucket of the game.
All of that created by that ball screen and roll from Leday.
Virginia Tech love to get a stop here and then score a bucket to get it back down to 10. Penetration, and look at how easy that offensive rebound was. Boy, Isaiah Hicks, he didn't even have to jump to get that.
Yeah, and that matchup zone, you know, gets you to scrambling a little bit. You have to release the body of one of the offensive players, and when you do that against Carolina, their bigs are so intelligent, they run right to the front of the rim. Very difficult to keep them off the glass. Ravi, how about this luxury? So most teams at the end of games or even in the end of half situations, they have to take their bigs off the floor. Right. Not Carolina, because Isaiah Hicks is a tremendous free throw shooter, shooting 83% from the line on the year.
Yep. Meeks and Bradley are on the bench. Looks like Bradley's going to come in for a second, but they've grabbed 16 offensive rebounds here in the first half. I'm not sure there's a formula to combat that. It's not like you can go in the locker room and grow.
No.
Haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah, and the byproduct is that of that size is 16 offensive rebounds for Carolina in the first half.
And they'll tell you, what about boxing out?
Yeah, well, in that case, it forces you to play man, so you can make sure that you keep bodies on, because with the size and speed, or lack of size and speed for Virginia Tech, they should be able to keep guys in front.
Look out, 3 seconds to go in the half, and it's down to 1. There was a major collision. It looked like Justin Robinson was out of control, but I think they're going to get that on a Hicks.
Folks, watch Buzz Williams here. He's actually all on the court outside of the coach's box. Just taking up a little additional real estate.
There's been some liberal use of the court by coaches the last couple of nights. I think I saw it was Jeff Capel was way out on the court the other night for Duke.
Real estate must be cheap here in Carolina.
.6, and Woods lets it fly, and he hits the backboard, which is exactly what Carolina did this entire half. They hit the backboard. If it were a movie.
Very difficult to deal with.
Williams, tenacious defense, and he goes into the crowd hard, and Roy Williams gives him a standing ovation off the bench for that type of hustle. That's Kenny Williams, who just knocked down the 3. He's their best perimeter defender all year. And he showed you some of that hustle there.
And that's what makes this team special. The depth, the fight, the toughness, the athleticism of this North Carolina team. Special.
Zach Leday back in the game. He's 32. He's one of the 2 with a headband on. Allen.
I think you look pretty good with the headband there, right?
That's a long 3. It was contested, and they continue to put themselves in a bigger hole.
No dribble penetration there. Straight line 3s have not been good for this team.
Looking inside to Meeks, but nothing doing. And Berry comes in and finds him. What a pass. What a pass from Joel Berry.
You You know what I love about that, too, is Kennedy Meeks caught that thing, didn't think, just quickly put that thing off the glass. And that's an area of his game he's really improved in. Roy Williams has been on him hard about catching the basketball and going quick. He did it on that possession.
Tough shot, Leday, contested, blocked off Meeks. And it's going to stay Virginia Tech ball. Roy Williams saying, hold on a second.
Look at Joel Berry. Knows where everyone is on the court. A little dribble penetration there. Sucked Leday up. No one sneaking down and taking away that pass. That should have been Chris Clark taking it away. And Kennedy Meeks does what he does with it when he catches it that close to the rim.
Gibbs misses. He gets his own rebound after the deflection. Good help out there by Meeks. Nothing's coming easy for Virginia Tech. There's a tough shot from Seth Allen, and he now has 12.
Yeah, Kennedy Meeks doing a great job of getting level with the ball screener, which gives your point guard a bit of relief there. He's doing a really nice job in ball screens. Early on in the year, not so much. Teams took advantage, especially a team like Georgia Tech.
Right. And for Virginia Tech, they've beaten Nebraska and Duke and Syracuse and Michigan, but you get the sense this type of mismatch is not good for them. As Berry looked for a foul and none called. Robinson kick three open, and that goes down. Yeah, that 5-point swing there.
Having plenty of time in this game, but they have to be disciplined on the offensive end of the floor, making sure Virginia Tech's getting good looks at the rim and keep fighting on the defensive end, trying to get stops.
Jackson, tough shot, he gets it to go. He shot that from behind the backboard.
Again, that wasn't a finger roll, but that thing was sweet. You see how long he hung in the air? That was pretty.
A great job on the defensive end as Berry draws the offensive foul. And North Carolina's got a 57-41 lead. Joel Berry does it on the court. He also does it.
Robbie, you looking pretty good too. And how about that, folks? His boot is even color coordinated with that suit. He could be on the front of the GQ magazine any day.
Who came up with sartorially resplendent? Who was that?
I thought that was you, bro.
No.
Oh, wasn't you? Must have been KB then. Way to go, Mr. Belton.
Carolina doing a great job of catching and shooting tonight. They are 8 of 18. Virginia Tech on the other side, 2 of 10. There's a miss, though, and a chance here for Virginia Tech. They've hung around. Clark all the way to the hole with the left, and he gets it to go in. Little aggressive play there from Chris Clark. He's got 8.
And Robbie, look at how good they've been when they've been able to drive the basketball. They got to stick with that and continue to do it. There's plenty of time left in this game.
Gibbs a little aggressive there, and he gets the foul called against himself. That's his second.
I'm sure Roy Williams likes Joel Berry much better in that suit he's wearing right now.
If you're going to sit next to me, please be wearing a uniform and no boot.
Indeed.
It's an 11-point game at the half. It's now 14. But the pace of play has slowed a little bit for Carolina, and certainly the barrage of threes has slowed down. The interior pass from Woods to Meeks is deflected out of bounds by Leday.
Buzz looked like he's taking off that jacket already, sweated through that shirt. Do you get that riled up, Raf?
Well, do I get riled up or do I sweat like that?
Both.
Well, I get riled up. That's sort of epic sweating that he does.
True.
Woods to the hole. Nice take. 7th Woods gets that to go, and that's his first bucket of the night.
Got Leday out there in a little mismatch situation and did what Virginia Tech needs to do consistently. He just put his head down and got to the front of the rim.
And he got a steal, and he lost it out of bounds. Took it right out of the hands of Justin Robinson. You do get the sense, though, that they're trying to drive the ball a little bit more.
Just a bit. And again, a lot of time left. 14-24. Only down 16. Keep driving the rock.
Right now, Leday, the tallest Virginia Tech player out there, and he's shorter than the entire front line of Carolina.
Yeah, and that's where he and Chris Clark with Isaiah Hicks and Kennedy Meeks guarding them. They got to get some touches.
They're going to call that an offensive foul. I wasn't sure if Kenny Williams got there a little late, but they call the offensive foul. He continues to be an outstanding defender.
Look at Kenny Williams again, recognizing that Justin Jackson has, I don't know if he got set there. That should be a block. He had already started his upward motion with that basketball, and Kenny Williams was still moving. That should have been a block.
I would agree. Our Friday matchup on ESPN, the NBA, James Harden and the Rockets in Philly take on the Sixers. Joel Embiid as well. Our coverage 7 o'clock with NBA Countdown. ESPN app and watch ESPN. You just saw Antoine Jamison, one of the great Carolina players, and their tremendous history. He's in the house tonight.
Folks, I got a chance to play against him several times in the NBA, and I could not guard that kid. He was so good. He could shoot the deep ball, and he had all those quick little push shots, almost like Alex English back in the day around the rim. He was rough to deal with.
Well, you look up at the rafters, you see all the names up there, but between Jamison being here and Doherty and Phil Ford, and you walk through the basketball offices, there's no question that once you wear the Carolina blue and play for them, you continue to return.
Indeed. What a fellowship that those guys have, man. A sense of community. It's really cool.
There's Phil Ford. Have you seen, by the way, their basketball sort of offices and things?
Yeah.
I'd return too.
How about Lenny Rosenblum? Wow, all kind of Tar Heels in attendance tonight.
Good dish and a foul. Great pass, and Isaiah Hicks used all of his strength to bully in for a bucket.
You know, we talk about the size differential for Carolina. Look at how Justin Jackson at 6'8", just sees over the top of the much shorter Virginia Tech players. And I'll tell you what, Isaiah Hicks couldn't finish that like that even last year. This kid has been a monster this year.
Day can't get it to go. Good rebound there from Bradley, who just stepped into the game.
They just keep coming at you in waves with that front line of Carolina. Mismatch inside.
Yeah, and he got great position and a good pass. Lead is 21. Check this out. You mentioned that pass from Justin Jackson. Watch the background of this pass and the head coach, Roy Williams, who he points to. Look at the background. Williams,
Matt Doherty. Yeah.
And coach Matt Doherty in the house.
Coached at Notre Dame for a year. Got to know Matt for a while. Really nice guy. I got a little hair envy, I have to admit.
They don't age either here, do they?
No, they look that way.
No.
I think it's something in the water.
I don't know what it is. They don't age. Jamison, Doherty.
They do call this area the southern part of
Perry went up for a rebound and got smacked inadvertently by Zach Leday, and he went down hard.
I'm sure that's not going to bother Joe Barry much. He's built like a little tailback. Good grief. Cooper Davis, former player. May right there behind him. You talk about an unstoppable big. That dude was a beast when he was in college here in Carolina.
So Barry's okay as he's back. Had some fear after we just did the whole thing about Barry and his dress. That's we're going to have him sit on the bench, so that's good. Lead's grown to 21. Jackson can't hit the three, and the rebound to Virginia Tech. Allen, great move by Barry and a good dish. And C will get fouled, and Barry's frustrated with himself for letting Allen penetrate.
Yeah, as C comes along, you got to know when guards get into the lane area, Ravi, you have to have your hands ready and ready to be able to explode to the rim. That's 2 times now in this game that he wasn't quite ready when the basketball was coming his way. He's only a freshman. He's going to get there. From the famed Oak Hill Academy. He's got good footwork, good hands. And Buzz Williams is really excited about his future.
She actually had the winning basket in the prep school championship for Oak Hill. highly recruited, and given his size and his makeup, they're certainly excited about him here at Virginia Tech. Well, Jackson's got another one. That one was wide open, and he buried it. He worked so hard on his shooting hours before the team would have the shoot around. You'd find Justin Jackson in the gym, and it's paying off. Allen into Berry, can't get it to go, gets his own rebound. Seth Allen started to do it himself.
He recently passed Vince Carter on the all-time scoring list. Justin Jackson is having himself a career.
Hicks wants a little piece of the action, and he does. Get it to go over C.
Something that he does really well, Ravi, is he knows that the double team is coming from the middle, turns to the baseline, and he's got such a bounce to him that he's basically looking down at you when he shoots that turnaround J.
Allen's going to fire a three, and that one is off the back iron, and an easy rebound for Carolina. Britt almost lost it, and you could tell he was out of control, and he did turn it over. And Virginia Tech pushes the other way, and a foul is going to be called on Isaiah Hicks. Under 12, we'll talk about the ACC, and also, if you heard Jeff Goodman at the half, these Duke sort of penalties they're putting on.
Rabbi, I was just thinking about this the other day. Can you imagine if Duke got it together? Can you imagine them being an 8 or 9 seed? That would be absolutely scary for every team in America going into the NCAA tournament.
I think I saw Joe Lenardi's bracketology currently has got him as a 5. But it was interesting. You heard Jeff Goodman during the halftime report talk about what Coach K has done. Had a team meeting apparently at his house and had basically told the team no longer can you use the locker room, and I would discourage everybody from wearing any of the Duke sweatshirt or Duke items around the campus, in a sense saying you haven't earned it or you've lost the right to do that. And living in the Major League Baseball world, those types of punishments are so foreign. So can you explain what the goal is? I know it's not the first time they've done it.
Sure.
That's a punitive action and sort of childlike in the treatment of the player.
Well, Ravi, he's a master motivator, and a few years ago when Maryland was actually coming to town, he actually had his team sign their autograph in the middle of the floor so that when Maryland walked in, they would see their signatures in the middle of the floor as a reminder that that's Duke's house. And so for Coach K, he's always trying to figure out how to pull strings, how to push you, how to get you motivated. And I think that's one of those things that he's trying to get done now.
All right, so you're wearing the Duke uniform and you have this. Are you accountable yourself? You realize, like, you know what? He's right. Or do you look at it like, really, that's the way we're going to deal with this?
It depends on if you care. And back in our day, it was easy to care because you were, at minimum, a 3-year collegiate ball player. So you were dialed in. You had a sense of team and a sense of pride in wearing that uniform. And in today's age, I'm not so sure how impactful it'll be because, I hate to say it, but guys who know that they're going to be there for only 1 year, I don't know if they're completely, if they'll completely buy into that, not knowing or not really sharing that same sense of pride in the Duke uniform.
And there's a part of you that wonders if you're told don't wear the Duke sweatshirt or jersey, that they would say, well, this is the only year I'm wearing it, and I'm not going to really, I'm not going to lose sleep over that idea. But you hope that's not the case, and I'm sure that the recruitment of the athlete was such that you understand what they may be there for and for how long, but also the goal is eventually to win and win together.
Yes.
And that's been an issue with Duke really since the get-go, with the injuries and the Grayson Allen issues and Coach K. I'm curious, you look at the sideline here, you got Roy Williams, the 800 wins, you got Coach K, who's a Hall of Fame coach and legendary coach, and you replace him with Jeff Capel. I wonder, as a player, to have a different voice, who probably has a little bit of a different plan with regards to who plays and when they play and who starts and who doesn't, but that might disrupt whatever chemistry might have started to grow there.
Yeah, and I think it can, because you look at a guy like Luke Kennard, the sad part with all of this drama going on, what he's done on the season has been absolutely lost, because I felt at one point he was in the top 5 for the Wooden Award. He was just playing terrific basketball. Then he comes off the bench, and now all of a sudden you don't know, am I going to play? Am I going to start? Am I going to get my normal touches, etc.? And it can be very difficult psychologically to handle night in and night out.
No doubt about it. In spite of the fact that they're up 74-49, you saw an example of what probably Coach K and other coaches are looking for from their players. Joe Barry very aggressively went after a steal there on Chris Clark.
Hey, Rob, you know what I see in this team? I see a group who plays like they still feel the sting of allowing one to get away last year against Nova in the finals. I mean, these guys, so here we are. I mean, they're up a million, and they're sacrificing their bodies and getting after the rock. And that's why, that's another reason why I think I wouldn't be surprised at all if this team is back in the finals again.
Right.
They have all the ingredients.
You're looking at a 25-point advantage with 9 minutes to go, and Meeks is on the floor, and Williams is on the floor, and Hicks is on the floor.
Yeah.
And Joel Berry's still on the floor.
Experience, inside, outside, interchangeable pieces. This team is built to win it, Ralph.
You know, and given some of the losses this week, there's a good chance Carolina will move considerably up in these rankings. It could conceivably be a top 5 team. Gonzaga likely to go number 1, assuming they beat San Diego tonight. They're in action tonight. And it's almost by virtue of they are the only team that hasn't lost to the top 4 or 5.
Sure.
Allen had it knocked away, and everybody's good on the floor.
Wow. Look at that. Look at that.
Pushing
4 white shirts around the ball.
Mike Eads gets in there, and we got a scrum on the floor. Barry and Clark are looking at each other.
You tell me this team doesn't want it? I'm telling you, that is a team that wants to win a national title right there.
You're going to have to wash that floor off, dry it up. There are a lot of sweaty bodies down there, so in an effort to avoid anybody slipping. Let's take a look at the scrum.
And look at this, Rapper. What it says is to this crowd, to their team, to themselves, that every single possession matters. And when you get into the NCAA tournament, that's magnified. And, you know, look at Kennedy Meeks there. Yeah, trying to help him out, putting on his leg. Didn't help much there.
For a 25-point game, just as a result of that, everybody here at the Dean Dome is on their feet. The Berries play with a bit of an edge tonight in a good way for Carolina. They've got a season high 13 threes in the game, North Carolina tonight. Shot clock at 5-4. Berry launches and gets nothing.
It's one of the few times in this game that they couldn't quite get into a rhythm on the offensive end.
You going beyond the bucket here, my man?
Looks like I am there. And this is the group that I really like. I love North Carolina. We talked about their balance and their depth. Kansas, I like them, but I'm concerned about them having Josh Jackson as a 3 playing the 4 spot. Kentucky, Bam Adebayo continues to get better and better week in and week out. And I absolutely have loved Arizona since November. And now that they're completely healthy, Parker Jackson Cartwright's back, Trier's back. This is a team that I expect to get to a Final Four. How about Lauri Markkanen? 7 feet tall, plays inside and out, shoots the 3, can play with his back to the basket. Excellent shot blocker as well. That Arizona State team is built to win one as well.
He's got the bloodlines. His dad, of course, was a player. But you look at the bottom line there, Joe Lunardi's top seeds. He has Villanova, Baylor, Kansas, and Gonzaga. If in fact there's one of the 3 teams from out west, Arizona, Gonzaga, or UCLA, will get a 1 seed, you have to assume.
And I took a look at Gonzaga, and I love this team. It's probably the most athletic Mark Few team that I've seen in my 8 years at ESPN. Yet, you know, they played against Arizona, and they beat Arizona early when Trier and Parker Cartwright were out. And I'm just not convinced. I guess we'll pick it up on the other side.
I can't believe you've been here 8 years. That's what I'm struggling with. Florida, Oklahoma, 2 Eastern time, and then the big one, Kansas and Kentucky, 6:15 on ESPN. Of course, game day will be at Rupp Arena, as the weekend menu is again brought to us by Panera Bread.
Florida's kind of been that enigma this year, and much improved three-point shooting team, but they can go on some real cold spells. They were 0 for 17 in that loss to South Carolina, and how about 19 made threes in their win against LSU?
Yeah. You live and die by it.
Yeah, indeed.
South Carolina's defense has just gotten so good.
And another team I like is, I've been big on Florida State all year. I really like that team. I know they laid an egg against Georgia Tech, but so did Carolina.
Yeah, and given they had that stretch where they played 6 of their 7 were ranked opponents, and that's going to happen in the ACC. Carolina's end of season schedule is one of those gauntlets as well.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. They seem to. I mean, if you were building a championship team, if you could do that, what would be the elements of that championship team? What do you need on your team?
I like veteranship. Florida State, Carolina has both. I like depth. We talked about Roy Williams having played 12 guys. How about Florida State? They played 11 guys, 10 minutes or more. The ability to go inside, out, both teams possess that. And so I've felt that all along that this year that those two teams are the best two teams in the ACC and two teams that can go deep in the NCAA tournament. Wouldn't at all be surprised if they both ended up in the Final Four.
Great pass. Woods to Meeks for the flush.
And I'd say, Ravi, the last thing would be, do you have a closer, a guy who you can get the rock to that can get you a bucket?
One-on-one move.
Yeah. Or bring him off the screen. Justin Jackson has become that guy for Florida State, and for North Carolina, and Dwayne Bacon is that guy for Florida State.
Take a look at the stretch I mentioned. So their last 8 games of the season, you can see the rankings, and again, that could change by the time we play the last 8. But Notre Dame here, then they go at Duke, at NC State, home to Virginia and Louisville. That's brutal. Pittsburgh is one of those, if Young and Artis are hot and you're on the road, anything can happen.
Indeed.
At Virginia, and again versus Duke. So you talk about a team that'll be ready for the tournament. They'll certainly be tested, and whether it takes it out of them or not, we'll see. But that's a gauntlet to end the season.
One of the benefits, wink, of being in a very deep ACC with quality ball clubs. My goodness. Makes great TV, though.
Right, it sure does. Allen picks up his 16th. And how about it? They're up 76-55, and usually, 6:30, you empty the bench. Joel Berry came back into the game.
Wow. Yeah, and you know what? Just, I've been here. Wow. He left up a little short.
Meeks got fouled, and the basket. Little exclamation point for Kennedy Meeks.
Hey, Bradley, look at how they genuinely cheer for each other. When you talk about a team that has cohesiveness, Carolina has it in abundance. I mean, look at this drive. Kennedy Meeks doing what he does, leads the ACC in offensive rebounds at 4 per game, and his teammates are as excited as he is, even with the big lead.
He didn't leave his feet to get that rebound, though. I mean, they had 2 Virginia Tech players there, and he, because of his size, just reached over the top of them. You almost get the impression, because Roy Williams has been so into this game down the stretch here, when you have this, there was almost some feeling like there was a charge. Here's what we want to do tonight. And they're executing it, and there's a lot of joy in the fact they're executing this.
Yeah, indeed. And again, Kennedy Meeks has taken that next step. But we saw that he already has 8 double-doubles on the year. And what I like about him, Rav, is, again, teams have learned that as Luke makes a really nice move underneath. Teams have learned to try to put Kennedy Meeks in ball screens because he wouldn't get out and get level with the screener. He's done that tonight, and their ball screen defense has been terrific.
This has been a series dominated by North Carolina. 80 games they've played. They are 66-13. They've won now 6 in a row and on their way to their 7th as you take a look at how much joy they're having, Zach.
That we blame our bad shots on our equipment. That's what I do.
There was a pause, like, where's LaFonso going with this one?
Oh, that was my Dick Vitale impersonation right there. Thanks for following me, Ralph.
I was letting him breathe and letting you go. Carolina is shooting at a clip of 65% in the second half.
Yes.
And they're just not letting the foot off the gas pedal. I think Buzz wants a uniform.
It looks that way. He's got enough sweat to have earned one, that's for sure.
I guess the challenge for Virginia Tech is the bucket is good and Meeks gets the foul. The challenge is going to be, this is not something you just go back and fix in a game and in a matchup like this. So what is the message to the Virginia Tech players?
Well, the message is you got away from really what got you going early. And what got them going early was dribble penetration, trying to finish at the rim when they would draw additional defenders making the kick. Now all of a sudden they came out and started staying the same side and taking a lot of jump shots, and that's really what got them in the hole that they're in. Now, certainly Carolina was knocking down some threes early, but it's going to be rare that they run into teams with this kind of length and depth and ability to score the rock.
May have gotten away with some steps. No call there. I'm telling you what, just watching Roy Williams get pass inside. Just watching Roy Williams after Meeks got that foul, he went back and started screaming at the bench, imploring them not to get fouls like that. Stand your ground. And I think he's going to take Meeks out of the game. And Kennedy's got a huge double-double going tonight.
Yeah, he's been so. Look at him get even on that. That's really pretty defense. That's something that he wasn't doing even 2 weeks ago, Ryan.
That time he went straight up, and he's going to take a break. As they call the steps. Meeks, May, and Britt go to the bench.
And folks, watch this ball screen here. Watch Kennedy Meeks get up and get even. Now he takes away the angle. The guard can't turn to the corner, and it gives them the ability to be able to get back to his man. That's been the difference in Kennedy Meeks over the last 2 weeks. His ability to guard the ball screen and not allow the guard to turn the corner. He's doing an excellent job, and North Carolina's going to reap the benefit of that as they get down to the latter part of the season.
Jackson's got 21 points. Meeks has 15. And Berry with 15. There's a long three, and that one wasn't close from Justin Jackson.
Ravi, it's been interesting kind of reading and listening to some of the locals. Is Carolina's been blowing teams out on their home floor, but have had a lot of really close games on the road. And I don't think people understand how difficult it is to win on the road, especially in the ACC.
In and out, and that was halfway down. Well, that's a good point. Why is it so difficult to win on the road?
You know, you're outside of your comfort zone, and at times when you go on the road, Rav, sometimes you as Seth Allen knocks down the big three, sometimes you kind of need that extra energy, that juice that comes from your fans. And when things aren't going your way and you're on the road, now all of a sudden you get on the wrong side of momentum. You don't have that at your disposal. So all of the discomfort and not having those normal things around you, along with the lack of fans, as Justin Jackson knocks that down, makes it very, very difficult on the road.
And as a player, that's tangible, and you feel that because there are better teams that go on the road and lose to inferior teams. You feel that.
You definitely feel it, especially when the home team starts knocking down some shots early and the crowd gets into it.
Robinson, that one almost looked like it got deflected and it went in. Carolina's hit the 85-point mark for 7 straight now ACC games, which is the first time they've done that in school history. But I would imagine, and you look at the score here, they're going to be more impressed with the defense than they are the number of points they've scored.
Yeah.
We'll take a break. There is a buzz here, no doubt about it. For Williams, it has not been a good one, though. Although he's keeping the fight going, and we'll continue from the Dean Smith Center after this. And outside, you take a look at some of the numbers. 12 of 25 from 3 and 13 of 26 from inside the paint. Could you do it any better?
No, you can't do it any better, and that's what makes North Carolina so good, Ravi. The fact that they can now consistently knock down the three-point shot, which opens up room for their bigs to go to work on the inside. And if you come over and help on any dribble penetration, now it allows the bigs to get perfect angles to the offensive glass, where they also excel.
Last 250, and Justin Jackson with his 21 points stays in the game. Got to be something from Roy Williams and company to just kind of keep this all-night pressure on. And you're up this big to keep these guys out there on the floor.
That's what makes them special, too, is they not only put defensive pressure on you all over the floor.
Too easy. He missed the layup. There's an offensive rebound, though, to pad those stats for Tony Bradley.
And yet, make or miss situations, they're running that basketball up the floor. Even on makes, Coach Williams wants them to have that basketball up the floor in at least 7 seconds.
Last time you and I did the Carolina game at Wake Forest, Bradley ended up suffering a concussion. He hit his head against the player, and he told me before the game he was out then, and then he hit his head on the floor. And it was a real scary moment. Initially, he didn't know how serious it was, but he says that was the first one he's had. He'd like not to have him again. He didn't. That was not anyone who's experienced concussion symptoms. It's a terrible feeling. Tony Bradley dealt with that, but now he's back on the floor for Carolina here the last couple of games.
I couldn't even watch him as he's walking off the floor.
2 on the shot clock, right off Justin Jackson. 24, 5, and 6 as far as his game goes tonight.
Rev, I think he shot that one from our table.
He did.
Almost right in front of you.
I saw you go up to block it.
I was too short in my suit. 6'8", couldn't get to it.
Justin Jackson, one of those guys who went to the NBA tryout camps, and they basically told him you got to work on your body and your shot. He came back and has done both.
Yes.
And has certainly turned himself into an NBA prospect.
Indeed. Tell you what, Rabbit, they were overmatched tonight, but I like the fight and the toughness in this Virginia Tech team, and they're going to give a lot of people some problems down the stretch of this season.
We've talked about it all night. You'll see it Saturday, 6:15 Eastern Time on ESPN. The 2 winningest programs in college basketball history. Kansas and Kentucky at Rupp Arena in a sonic blockbuster. It streams live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. Well, now the bench gets cleared a little bit as Jackson has gone over there and he's celebrating with his teammates. 26, 15, and 15. And Kennedy Meeks not only had the 15 points in 21 minutes, he grabbed 14 rebounds. That'll put a smile on your face. 21 minutes, 15 points, 14 boards. Theo Pinson, who left the game in the first half with what appeared to be an ankle injury, he's back on the bench, and Roy Williams is rubbing his head. That must be for good luck.
And Theo, to his credit, in the first half when the game was tight, it was Theo who came off the bench to give them much needed lift offensively. Hit a 3, got an offensive rebound, put back, and made a pretty pass for a 3 as well. So hopefully that ankle injury is something mild. Just didn't have enough of that on the offensive end from Virginia Tech tonight. Thought they really settled for too many jump shots instead of driving the basketball to the painted area where they were able to score and get fouled.
Carolina's going to be again within 1 win of another 20-win season for Roy Williams. And as much as we've talked about Kansas and Kentucky tonight, you got to certainly consider North Carolina a favorite to get to a Final Four.
So many offensive options, and they just keep coming at you with that deep front line, and their defense has been absolutely sensational over the last 2 games.
Virginia Tech back to 500 in conference. They lose at 91-72, and that will do it from the Dean Smith Center as our coverage of the ACC on ESPN wraps up for the night. Carolina enjoyed the night from the get-go, from the dancing pregame to the rout on the floor to Coach Roy Williams.